Hello again. About 20 years ago we put together this tract, By What Authority? And you might remember those are words that were thrust at Jesus Christ himself by his religious opponents in the last week of his life. This one is subtitled, Why Should Anyone Believe the Watchtower? We've thought of making this into a tract because I don't believe the Watchtower has ever addressed the difference between the way they view authority and the way Jesus Christ himself views authority. So let's delve right into that. If you don't mind, I'm going to read the argument itself from the paper, and if you would like a version of it, we can send you a PDF of this or its booklet version. By what authority? Why should anyone believe the Watchtower? By what authority are you doing these things, and who gave you this authority? Matthew 21 verse 23. When the Jewish religious establishment confronted Jesus Christ with the above questions, Christ knew any answer was impossible. No matter what he would say, their minds were made up. They would not believe, so Jesus Christ did not answer his critics directly. Instead, he asked them a question. The baptism of John, where was it from? From heaven or from men? Now, not being willing to deny John's divine authority, the chief priests and elders, trapped between the stone of stumbling and the rock of revelation, did not answer. But a few days later, on the last night of his earthly life, Christ did identify the source of his authority, not before the sealed ears and hardened hearts of his adversaries, however, but solely for those to whom he had said the mysteries of the kingdom were revealed. And this is how he put it in John 13 and John 14. From now on I am telling you before it comes to pass, so that when it does occur, you may believe that I am. The English translations supply the word he here, but it's worth noting that in the Greek it's just I am. And now I have told you before it comes, that when it does come to pass, you may believe. Those two passages are John 13:19 and 14:29. So, now we have test number one. Does the Watchtower demonstrate God's omniscience? Recall those things Jesus had told the apostles over the months before that last trip to Jerusalem. Those things that they, like Christ's unbelieving enemies, found impossible to conceive. That the Messiah must die and rise again. Nevertheless, Christ rested his divine authority on the certainty that all things must come to pass just as the Hebrew Scriptures had foretold, and as he himself was now foretelling. This is from Luke 24, verses 44 and 46. Quote, all things which are written about me in the law of Moses and the prophets and the Psalms must be fulfilled. Thus it is written that the Christ should suffer and rise again from the dead the third day. Luke 24, 44, 46. Thus even Jesus Christ was not exempt from the standard set for God's spokesman in the Old Testament. The prophet should demonstrate the omniscience of God. Jehovah, the true God, would demonstrate that he was different from the pagan deities in this very attribute. Jehovah knows all things. He demonstrates this by giving his spokesman the ability to foretell the future infallibly. That's Deuteronomy 18:20-22, 1 Samuel 3:9 and 20, and 1 Samuel 9:6, as well as Isaiah 44:24-28. So if demonstration of God's absolute knowledge of the future was the special sign of the prophet, would the apostles display any less ability? Before Christ departed this earth, he assured the apostles, his future witnesses, that they would not lack his ability to foretell the future. I have many more things to say to you, he said, but you cannot bear them now. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all the truth. He will not speak on his own initiative, but whatever he hears, he will speak, and he will disclose to you what is to come. That's John 16, verses 12 and 13. So the apostles, like the prophets, would foretell the future infallibly, because the Spirit which would anoint them for their witnessing was infallible. Not all the apostles are recorded as having foretold the future. but those who had the chief responsibility in witnessing certainly did. For instance, Peter in 2 Peter chapters 2 and 3, and Paul in 1 Timothy 4 and 2 Timothy chapters 3 and 4. John in all of the book of Revelation, of course, was also meeting this qualification. Because they were the only group chosen to witness for Christ, the apostles, like the prophets, and like Christ himself, had to demonstrate the omniscience of God. In the second segment, we'll discuss test number 2, which is, does the Watchtower demonstrate the omnipotence of God?